Thanks for watching. Welcome back. Let's settle with the very first story now. Many petty traders in Kumasi are said to be switching off their businesses to cash in on coronavirus prevention items in high demand. Some petty traders at the central market are now dealing in sanitizers, hand gloves and nose masks, among others. Prince Appiah visited some commercial hubs within the Garden City to monitor the situation and has come through with this report.
So right from the Roman Hill bus terminal down to the Kumasi Central Market and along the shoulders of the roads here, it is business as usual. A lot of people are going about their businesses as though nothing is happening. It is for just a few people that we've observed with nose mask and hand gloves. We should say that one thing we've observed is the business booming around those selling hand gloves and sanitizers, and most of them are petty traders.
The business is good. We pray that disease leaves us. I used to do donkomi before I switched to selling gloves. We sell at 1 cedi. Others are selling at 3 cedis.
And bad news is I was so be about home buying. Into home buying into the so yakofa way.
It was announced that we protect ourselves. That is why I am selling these items. A pair of hand gloves is 3 cedis and a nose mask is 5 cedis. I am a bread seller, but this business is good for now. So when everything is over, I sell for a week more, then I revert to selling bread. I have sold 10 boxes of sanitizers and a nose mask today.
Gross and a handset in my beton. Seconia Valo, so Seconia, the campo.
It is difficult, but we are trying hard to protect ourselves. For us tilapia sellers, we prefer using sanitizers to wearing the gloves because it gets torn easily.
We wrap the neck with a special sanitizer, so we try not to allow the sweat of the customer to get onto the material we use. For them, they're excited about the business boom, but of course they pray that this particular disease or infection gets out of our country. My name is Prince Appiah reporting from Kumasi.
And back here in Accra, panic buying of hand sanitizers has resulted in the shortage of the products amid the coronavirus outbreak. From pharmacies to retail outlets, alcohol-based wraps are now in high demand, leading to price fixing and profiteering. Checks at some pharmacies show hand sanitizers, which was previously going for 5 cedis, has now shot up to 15 and in some places 20 Ghana cedis. PC Cousins, distributors of sanitary products and detergents, are concerned over their national trend. Charles Aite has been assessing the situation and has more in this report.
When you walk into any pharmacy or any retail shop to get this particular, hand sanitizer for yourself, it's going for 4 cedis, 50 pesos, the retail price, and PC Cousins. But unfortunately, due to the shortage of these hand sanitizers, our checks show that you could even get this for as high as even 20 Ghana cedis, if not 15 Ghana cedis. That's if you're lucky. This is the stark reality on the ground. And we're here with the head of personal care at PC Cousins to help us understand the impact of this on their business and some piece of advice out there to you watching us on the need not to panic buy. So many thanks, Marianne, for your time. This morning, you went out to Tema to distribute and even activate. And unfortunately, you sold out in even less than 30 minutes.
Yes, so we went in there, we went to the Accra toll booth, and within a few minutes, everything was sold out. So what's happening is the consumer is not getting access to the product at the right price. So it's been inflated. So when we had the opportunity to do this, people took that opportunity to buy for themselves as well, which is why it sold out quite quickly. We're selling at the recommended retail price, like you mentioned, 4 cedi 50 pesos, which is accessible to most people, rather than what people are selling it for now, which is way inflated. So the prices have been inflated a lot. So what I was mentioning before to everybody was, so at the toll booth, we actually limited it to only 2. So one person can buy just 2, to give opportunities for the wider population to also get access to it. I was mentioning that because we are panic buying, one person goes into a shop, buys 12 at once. You don't actually need 12. You should buy what you need at the moment so that you can give the opportunity for someone else, your neighbor, to also come and buy some. So there's no point in protecting yourself and then your neighbor is not protected. In these times, this is especially the time that you need to show community spirit. We need to watch out for each other. We need to be each other's keeper. So you don't have to buy for yourself, not thinking about the next person. If you buy just enough, you leave some on shelf for the next person to buy. In that case, we are all protected. And when we are all protected, it will help in preventing the spread of the virus. So that's a little advice I have to give to everyone in this current situation, not to be selfish, not to go and hoard. When you do that as well, that's what's causing the spike in the prices, because then you are creating a lot of artificial demand. And when you do that, then the shop owners have the opportunity to raise the prices. But if you leave some on shelf for everybody to get access to, then there will be no need to hike the prices. From our end, we haven't changed prices, so it's still 4 cedi 50 pesos. And that's the very reason why we decided to have these activations, as well as education on at the toll booth this morning.
Well, so the coronavirus still trending, and the Middle East is set to be shutting down as the novel coronavirus accelerates its spread across the Persian Gulf region. The Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, the world's #1 oil exporter, launched an oil price war partly as a consequence of the coronavirus and the collapse in worldwide demand, a move that has shattered crude prices and threatened economies globally. Now, oil prices have dropped as much as 10%, hitting below $30 a barrel. We want to discuss these developments in the Middle East and how they threaten the global economies, including Ghana's. And joining me is indefatigable Philip Namfuri of the Joy Business Researcher. He's joining me here in the studio. Philip, you're welcome.
I like the word you just used.
Indefatigable. You're always on time.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, so tell us, give us an overview of the situation in the Gulf region.
So, oil predominantly is at the fore of this discussion. And as you can see here, I had this display to show one of the major oil exporters in the world.
Okay.
Up there is also Russia, as part of the most important oil exporters in the world. Now, we've seen the flooding of the market with barrels of oil, and we've seen Saudi Arabia coming to say that they will continue to pump more oil onto the market. Already we know the price is being driven down, like your introduction said, on the back of the cut in demand for oil products, because airlines are cutting back, there's tensions, uncertainties, etc. Also, the coronavirus comes in, and then this war between Saudi Arabia, Russia, and then the OPEC countries.
Isn't it amazing that at a time when OPEC really wants to push up prices by cutting supply, Saudi Arabia, a major player in OPEC, says it's going to pump in more supply?
I mean, for me, it's not really surprising, because I don't know if the word is Mexican. Saudi Arabia has cojones. They have the ability to do things that other oil exporters will not do. And taking this stand, one may wonder why. As to the exact reason, we will not be able to tell, but we see the effect it's having on the market. And a country like Ghana, where we've struck oil and we've used it as one of the major parts of our economy in terms of funding our budget, etc. And you realize that we pegged ours at 62. Now we're doing 30. If this is sustained over a period of time,
obviously loss of revenue.
Yes, loss of revenue, and its concomitant effects on other parts of the economy. And look at Nigeria, for example, Angola. Their dependence on oil has severe implications for the economy. We've seen this over the course of the different commodity crises we've had, and now the same issue is in there. And let's bring it down to Ghana. Let's move away from the GCC countries and let's come down to Ghana.
Okay.
We export some amount, we also import. On the export side, we are going to suffer. If you look at our major commodity exports, for the past year or two or so, in terms of the amounts, as in like how much each is bringing us, gold, cocoa, oil, we see that oil has been doing very well in terms of the inflows because on the back of the new fields we discovered, etc. Now you realize that on the import side, we are going to benefit more or less because
the downstream, finished petroleum products we import.
But that's also we're yet to see a very strong effect down here with the expand prices. So I'll say...
now, are we going to suffer that much because we are not predominantly reliant on oil? Because like you said, we have other primary commodities, cocoa, we have non-traditional exports and other things. Before even the advent of oil, we had all these things. Are we going to suffer because of this geopolitical situation?
Emmanuel, we would suffer, but then it depends on managers of the economy to reduce that burden on us. Because here we have an economy that we are trying to diversify. We've made some strides. But at the same time, these commodities play an essential role. And even though gold is going up because of the movement from risky assets to safe haven assets. If you have oil coming down and your finance minister has budgeted certain things on the back of oil, it's going to rearrange all this, especially with the free searches and all other things.
Exactly. Interesting conversation here, but at this juncture, I want to bring on board, energy expert Ishmael Jokonhene, who would also add his thoughts on this particular situation. Good afternoon, Ishmael. You're welcome to the market, please.
Good afternoon, Emmanuel.
All right, now, do you think that it's time that government can dip its hands into the stabilization fund, which was created for times like these? I mean, is it time to go into it, and how much at all could we have accrued?
Well, first and foremost, I'm not sure we have enough money in the stabilization fund to be relied on. I mean, close of year 2019, the Bank of Ghana, we had close of $1 million, 380 to be precise. The finance of the capped it at 3 million. So effectively, pending the inflows for the first we have only a little $8 million to play with. But in terms of whether the government dip its hands into that, yes, the PERM is that in the event that within a quarter, the inflows is less than a quarter of the annual budget fund amount, it triggers, allows the government to take some money to support the budget. So the total budget, annual budget amount for this year is about $500 million. So a quarter of that will be like $142 million. So if at the end of March inflows are less than $142 million, the law allows to go in there and recover.
Now, is the law specific on time? Does it give timelines or deadlines to which government can?
The law says it's a quarterly basis. So at the end of every quarter, there is a projected annual budget funding amount for the quarter, which the year's ABFA divided by 4. Okay, so that's what I'm saying. End of March, government should go to assess and determine whether they were able to take in $103 million. If it's less than that, the law allows in then it says that they can recover the lesser 75% of the shortfall or 25% of the total balance in the stabilization.
Now, you realize that these geopolitical tensions or situations are not anything new. They come and they go. Do you project that this situation we're having now, below $30 a barrel, as being witnessed on the crude market now, will improve anytime soon? And if not, how should we position ourselves as a country?
Emmanuel, it can only get better because where it is, I mean, no investor will make an investment decision, but all the projects, pending projects, they are not viable at below $30. If it doesn't get better, then the future of the industry is a bleak. Coupled with the fact that Saudi Arabia, for the first time, is not playing ball with OPEC. So long as they continue to, I heard you asking the question why they are going against the tide. Well, they are very much reliant on oil, and their total budget in most cases is oil. So the more they produce, even if the price is lower, the more revenue they get to the economy. So it has to get better. If it continues like this, then we will be at the rock bottom.
Now, the U.S. has indicated that it's going to step up or increase its production, its demand of oil. Would this make any improvement in the short term?
Yes, they are thinking of buying close to 77 million
exactly.
And just pumping them down. It's going to make some, because at least there's an artificial demand that we are generating to help show up things. Plus, they are also ready to give some money to the oil marketing, oil company, the IOC. So it's going to make a difference. But see, Saudi Arabia can do about $5 million barrels of oil a day. I mean, 10 days means 50 million barrels. They are big in the industry. Definitely, that demand from the U.S. can help to some extent, but it depends on how Saudi Arabia is.
So finally, before you go, would you also suggest that because things are not so rosy within the industry, we should put a hold on our exploratory activities?
I think it's going to be natural. Nobody will tell anybody to stop, because you see, there is a minimum price that will justify any investments in the upstream. I mean, for example, I know Jubilee wasn't profitable below $50 a barrel or something like that. So those are the kind of investment decisions that these IOs do. So at this stage, I'm not too sure many people making their investment. It's not anybody stopping them, but maths probably would for them. So they might decide not to put their investment decisions on hold. They see. Except that if you have 4 years to do an investment, then you must as well do it now, because where the price is, can only get better.
All right, many thanks for your input. Ishmael Ejokumene is an energy expert. He's also executive director of KITE. Back to the studio now. So do you think that government must go for a review very soon of its benchmark revenue, benchmark pricing, and so on and so forth because of the situation we're having?
I think we are just in March. We have about a week or so to the end of the first quarter. Then we have a few more months to July, where I think the Minister of Finance will be mandated to bring to Parliament again the mid-year review. So let's see how things play out. Let's just pray again that the coronavirus is brought under control, and then this price war also subsidized, and then we'll see. Maybe there'll be some mention now, but I know some are projecting a continuous downward spiral of the prices.
That's not good.
So let's see how.
That's not too good. Well, so you just hear, and interestingly, the Feds have also cut their interest rate to 0%. I mean, does it interest you in any way? What does it mean?
So today I was doing a bit of reading and I was watching some stuff, and I think the markets is. Some of the sentiment in the market is that the Federal Reserve of United States, their move in the markets, they didn't really do much to bring up, should I say, confidence with regards to stocks and stuff like that. And you would, I also read again that it seems as if central banks the world over cannot do it alone in this time. We need a complement of also the fiscal authorities. So that's from the budgetary side. And like I said to Darrow, I think yesterday, if we have all these measures and there's liquidity flowing in the system for companies and etc., and we have a worst case scenario where nobody goes out to procure items or anything like that, these companies may be cushioned, all right, but if there's no demand coming from anyone, then where are we going? I'm sure you understand what I'm trying to say. Yeah. So you realize that even though it's good on the global level, on the domestic level, we haven't reached any situation where we have our monetary authority, that's the Bank of Ghana, doing some sort of pumping in the economy. But we should keep our eye focused on the next Monetary Policy Committee meeting and see where exactly the rate will go. Is the Bank of Ghana going to hold the rate, or they're going to cut the rate in unison with other central banks, weighing our position as a developing country amidst this global crisis? So I think we should wait.
But does it affect our prospective bonds that we intend to?
Yes. I mean, this is a time where investors are moving from risk assets to safe haven. We've issued bonds. If investors feel like, you know what, we can't really tell the prospects of this coronavirus issue, I want to hold my funds in cash, I want to put it in gold, then there's a problem for us as a country. So I think the issues are a lot and coming from all angles, and sometimes synthesizing it is a bit difficult, but we should be able to sit down and see how exactly we're going to benefit. I'm sure the government authorities will come out sometime, I hope so, with some economic assessment of where we are with regards to the coronavirus issue.
All right, thank you very much, Philip Namfuri, for that update. Now, let's still stay on the coronavirus because it's very, very important and trending. Airline operators in Ghana have begun talks with the Ministry of Aviation on implementing government-announced travel restrictions to fight the coronavirus outbreak. The meeting was held with all relevant stakeholders and regulators in the aviation sector to ensure all concerns with the directive were addressed. Addressing the media after the meeting, the Minister for Aviation, Joseph Kofi Adda, said the airline representatives had agreed to cooperate with government.
The travel advisory by government discouraged travel to the country until further notice. The advisory goes on to say that travellers, except for Ghanaian citizens and persons with Ghana residence permits, who within the last 14 days had been to a country that had recorded more than 200 cases of the COVID-19, would not be allowed into the Ghanaian jurisdiction. On the back of the announcement, the Board of Airline Representatives met with the ministry to discuss the implementation of the directive. Joseph Kofi Adda is the Minister for Aviation.
We are all aware of the travel notice and the announcements made by the Minister of Information and the Director of Health Services. We are also aware of the national address delivered by the President last night. All those are in the direction of trying to make sure we contain this pandemic and ensure that we stay alive, especially we in the aviation sector, who are more or less the conduit of this virus, are able to put it in check. We've got some statements that we've issued. I think there's a little press coverage that we did by ourselves that we'll share with you to let them know that the airline reps, they have agreed to cooperate with us to effectively address this matter.
The minister adds a formal notice will be issued on the rollout of the travel advisory by the Ghana Civil Aviation Authority.
In our discussions with the airline reps, they asked for NOTAM, which we know is the effective directive that should come from the Civil Aviation Authority on all the arrangements that are required for them to comply with. Government has issued this travel notice. We have made various statements. The President has addressed the nation, but the NOTAM will effectively be the one that specifies how the airlines should comply with the directives of government. That is being issued as we speak.
For Joy Business, Shilata Maklo reporting.
And that's it for the marketplace today. Many thanks for your company with me. My name is Emmanuel Aboagye-Wiafe. For more businesses, log on to myjoyonline.com/business. Look it up.